Before we see a live demo in the second part, I would like to lay the foundations with you here in the first part. What is SAP anyway? Why is SAP so successful, and what makes SAP so special? SAP is the global market leader in ERP. This means you are the preferred choice for companies worldwide when it comes to integrating business processes and processing them in real time. We will take a closer look at these topics to lay the foundations. This way, you will know exactly what SAP is all about, the SAP product itself, and the entire SAP topic. So let's dive into the world of SAP together and work through the most important basics. Before we take a closer look at SAP and its products, let's start with a quote from Charles Darwin. A really nice quote, in my opinion, which says, "In the world of technology, it is not the strongest who survive, but those who adapt best to change." And I have to tell you, I don't think there's any area where this is more true than in SAP. It's not just about understanding SAP itself, but also about companies being willing to change their processes, innovate, and move with the times. This quote always reminds me how important it is to be flexible and adaptable. These qualities are really important when working with SAP. SAP is the undisputed global leader in ERP systems. There is competition, such as Oracle, which has a stronger presence in the American market, but SAP clearly dominates in Europe. If we jump straight to the last point, we see that 92% of Forbes Global 2000 companies rely on SAP solutions for their business needs. The point above shows that SAP serves more than 400,000 customers in 180 countries and has 500 million end users. This shows the enormous reach and importance of SAP in the ERP market. Compared to smaller programs that only cover specific parts of a company, SAP really is huge. It is a comprehensive system that companies of all sizes can use. The relevance of SAP extends not only to large corporations, but also to medium-sized companies. Another important point is the seamless integration of business processes and real-time data processing. One of SAP's biggest strengths is its ability to seamlessly integrate business processes and processes data in real time. This is one of the main reasons why SAP is so successful. With the introduction of S/4HANA, speed and efficiency have once again increased significantly. The new database technology enables even faster processing and real-time reporting, which makes SAP even more attractive for companies. In another course, here in the masterclass, we will take a closer look at the changes and benefits of S/4HANA and also understand what is really new and revolutionary about it. Here is an excerpt of the integrated SAP modules in ERP. I don't want to say too much about this because we will go into this in more detail in another part of the masterclass. But what is important to emphasize is the comprehensive integration. This means that all these modules in the ERP are connected with each other. If I change something in the SD module in sales, for example, this has a direct impact on the FI module. This seamless integration is the central importance of these modules. They form the basis for fundamental business processes such as financial management, materials management, sales, and production planning. Another important point is the scalability and flexibility of the SAP modules. Thanks to this structure, SAP offers absolute flexibility and scalability for companies to support growing and changing requirements. For example, if a company previously did not have its own warehouse and now wants to connect a warehouse, it can activate the warehouse management module and map the corresponding business processes there. This shows how infinitely scalable it is. It often happens that old systems are replaced by SAP modules in order to work fully integrated in the ERP system. Many companies still use old systems and then want to replace them so that all modules can communicate with each other, which of course also increases efficiency. This shows that SAP is not only flexible and scalable, but also able to adapt to the specific needs of each company. Let's take a look together at what navigation in SAP actually looks like. We'll go through this in detail in the second part of this module, where we'll really dive into the SAP system and I'll show you how to navigate. But here you can get a concrete overview to see how extensive this system can be. What you see here is the so-called SAP menu tree. Here in the red rectangle, for example, you can see the logistics area. under Logistics, so you can now click through the various modules. For example, under Logistics, you will find Materials Management, which is the module. Sales is the SD module, and Production, for example, is the module, i.e., Production Planning. If you click on one of these modules, another menu tree opens with many sub-items and transactions. I think this illustrates quite well the size and also the relevance as well as the dynamics of an SAP system. Here we only see the SAP applications on the left and various SAP cloud products on the right. To give you an example, SAP ERP, which we have been talking about so far, is just one area of the applications in the SAP universe on the left. There is also BW, Business Warehouse, HCM, Human Capital Management, CRM, Customer Relationship Management, and many more. SAP ERP contains the modules that we have just talked about, which the market will bring you closer to. These modules can be activated and also deactivated, depending on the needs of the company, but SAP offers much more than just SAP ERP. On the right-hand side, we see many of SAP's cloud products, for example, SAP SuccessFactors for HR, SAP Ariba for purchasing, SAP Concur for travel expense accounting, and SAP Fieldglass for external employee payroll. For example, if you are a project manager like me and have people in the project who are not from your own company, such as freelancers, you can map this via SAP Fieldglass, for example. Another exciting product is the SAP Analytics Cloud, or SAC for short. Many companies are currently looking at this product because it is very modern and powerful and therefore very interesting for many companies. In other words, if you were to ask me which of these products you should specialize in, it would probably be SAP Analytics Cloud, simply because there aren't that many consultants on the market yet. SAP SuccessFactors in the cloud is also always a big deal. There's also a huge shortage of people, and a shortage of people always means advantages for you. I work in SAP SD, as you know, or in MM. This is actually a safe bet, just like FI and CO. But then there are always new products from SAP that are really in the hype, and that would be SAP Analytics Cloud, for example. So you can see that we've only talked about the SAP ERP system so far, but there are many other products. And if you want to learn all these things, you will probably need more than one lifetime, more like 10. Even in SAP ERP, there are different modules like the SD module, which is only one part of the whole. SAP is incredibly vast, offering a huge variety of products and possibilities. It's really fascinating, I have to say, how comprehensive and versatile SAP's product range has become. What do we see here? Here is an excerpt from the SAP GUI from an ECC system, i.e. from an older system. What I want to show you here is how the whole thing works in general. You can either navigate through the menu tree, as we have already looked at, and click on Create Sales Order, for example. Or you can enter a transaction code directly at the top. This is the key in the SAP system, and these transaction codes usually consist of 2 letters and 2 digits. By entering this code, you can jump directly to the desired processes and then execute them. An example of this is the transaction code VA01 for the Create Sales Order. We'll take a detailed look at the whole thing in the second part, where I'll share my screen with you and we'll hop through the system. I'll also show you what it looks like in the old world, as well as in the new world in the SAP Fiori Launchpad, so that you then have a feel for what's actually changing here. There is an analogy in SAP for transaction types 01, 02, and 03. For example, we have just looked at VA01 for Create Sales Order. 02 would then be Change, and 03 would be Display. This actually runs through the whole system. This analogy with 01, 02, and 03 can also be found in all modules, whether in FI, SD, MM, PP, or wherever. This means that if you remember this directly at the beginning, you definitely have certain advantages. To illustrate this again with a concrete example, if I wanted to create a material, for example, I would go to MM01 and create the material. As soon as it is created, I can also change it. That would then be with MM02, and if I only want to display it, it would be MM03. The reason for this analogy